So I guess this is pretty interesting, and it's going to prove the point as well. Okay, so that's from today. So I need to prepare any random challenges tests to test my common sense and ability to apply to different problems. Right. research, then I'll put most of the money there, and I'll use it for that, and make a compromise and use less money for other less important tasks. However, I'm not sure which of these tasks are the most important. But generally, the most money should be allocated to what's most important for the development of the company, and then, I guess, for the less important tasks, I allocate less money because they won't be that profitable and they won't have that much of an influence on the future of the company. And risk management, like any other business, there's a risk. You can make everything right and people won't buy the product. So based on all the calculations and all the statistics and all the information that you gather, I guess you make a risk management plan. And in this plan, there is the possibility of this expansion of the company to not work out. So then you have to have a plan B of what you're gonna do after that. And then oh no, that's anticipated outcomes. That's another key point. All right. So the key objectives. So the key objectives is it depends on the business, and here it doesn't give that many details, but I assume that anticipated outcomes should be some of them should be positive and some negative. So we cover all the options. And one option is that the development is successful, and then you produce more products, you sell more products, you make more money. And another anticipated outcome is that it doesn't work out. And there are other options somewhere in between those two possibilities, which will all depend on all these calculations and statistics and information that you gather and so on. So that, this could be done in a really specific manner by actually doing the research. But the point is not to do the research. I've done this at university. One topics very similar to this. The point is to prove that I have common sense and can go through all these topics and present a very short key summary of each bullet point that makes sense. This proves that I have common sense. Alright. So this is one of them. Now let's do another one. Also, I'm whispering because it's night and everybody's sleeping. So let's do another one. Okay, so the next one, let's do another challenge. Prioritization exercise. Here's the test for this challenge. So you're tasked with managing multiple projects simultaneously, each with its own set of deadlines and requirements. However, you've recently encountered a situation where two critical projects have overlapping deadlines. You must decide which one to prioritize. It sounds like me. Evaluate the importance and urgency of each project based on factors such as impact on company goals, client expectation, resource availability, and potential risks. So part of the answer to this question is overlapping with what I mentioned for the previous case. So I have two critical projects and I need to prioritize which one I do first, or which parts of these projects I do first. And the logic, the common sense is similar to the previous one, the previous case. So it's also about a company. The main goal of the company is to make money. In order to make money, you have to meet the client expectations in order for people to buy your product. So I'll look at these two projects and see which one is mostly is closest related to this problem. So if one of these projects is solving an issue that customers complain about, then that would be the priority, because the customers are buying the product, which results in a profit, which is why the company exists and how the company can grow and develop and continue existing. besides anything related to customers. So the priority are the customers. If the customers don't get the product that they desire, the demand drops, the company stops making money, and then the company cannot run anymore. The company goes bankrupt, so it all goes away. So that would be priority number one. Second priority would be anything else that affects this final result. For example, if the machinery breaks and you cannot make the product anymore, then you have nothing to sell. So then again, the company will eventually go bankrupt, and all processes stop. The company goes away, it goes bankrupt. So I would look in both of these projects and see the parts that are mostly associated, or the parts that are directly linked to essential processes that allow the company to exist. This could be, as I mentioned, something related to the customer. So if the customer says, I want this specific product, or I'm not buying anything, and most of the customers behave the same way, then you either make that product or the demand will drop to the point where the company will go bankrupt. So that would be a priority. Another problem would be the company sleep schedule is disorganized. So I sleep enough, but I sleep I don't have a precise sleep cycle. So I don't sleep from 10 to 6 or something like that. It depends on the day. Sometimes I sleep from 10 to 6. Sometimes I go to bed at 6 and sleep during the morning. So it depends on the day. So let's say I want to solve that and be innovative and creative about it. So, well, fixing a fixed schedule probably does not require. So fixing a sleep schedule probably does not require technology for that. So it's going to be. So I don't see how I'll be that innovative about it. What I'd make a research on it. So I'll type a problem on Google and see what other people who have studied this problem did. And then I'll take every possible solution, and I would try to see what matches with my situation. So if, for example, let's say I don't know. Let's say that I eat right before bed, right? That's one of the issues, I think. So I eat right before bed, and then I cannot sleep for 3 or 4 hours because I just ate and I have energy. So then I would find this solution and I would fix it. I would say, okay, now I'm going to eat 2 hours or 3 hours before bed. So then I identify the problem and solve it. I don't see how being that creative about it. But yeah, that's pretty much the solution. So you search for other people who have had a similar problem, and you see which solutions apply to this specific situation, and then applying it to my situation, my personal situation. It probably involves some amount of creativity. I can't think of an exact example now, but that would be probably how it works. So I would type some problem on Google or ask an expert about it, someone who knows the topic very well, and then find all possible solutions and all possible causes for that problem. And then I would choose from those. I would choose the one that matched my situation, and then I would try to apply those solutions to my situation and adapt it in such a manner that it solves whatever problem I have. And doing that, it could be creative or innovative depending on the situation. The given situation about the sleep schedule is probably not that. Doesn't require that much creativity. But let's say something breaks, and for example, my bike breaks, and I don't have the tools to fix it. So I would search for the solution and try to be creative and innovative in fixing that bike. Could be anything. I can't think of an exact problem now that I would be able to fix by being creative and innovative. But a lot of times when things break, I use tape, and it solves the problem. So that's one way to think about it in a very simplistic manner. Okay. Now, let's do something related to a court case. Right, so now in order to prove that, okay, I don't need to stand next to church now. Because it's annoying, I'm sitting on the floor, so I'll go back here. Right, so now I'll do something regarding a criminal law case. That is exactly the point, because what the argument was that I would not be able to represent myself in court because I would not have the mental capabilities to do so. But it is false. It always was. So this would prove it, because supposedly now I would have the same problem that people made up in the past. But that was not the case in the past, and it is not the case now. So now I'll be able to prove this regarding a specific law case. So ChatGPT will generate a random case regarding criminal law. Let's see. Right, moral dilemma. decide if the defendant is guilty or innocent. Um, Based on the title, which says moral dilemma, it's not actually referring to the laws and how the laws are applied, uh, but to the moral aspect of such a problem. So no clear details are given. It's just that a defendant might be innocent or might be guilty, but I'm not sure if I'm not sure which one it is. So I need to use my moral compass to see what the best decision is. So from my perspective, and I'm not a judge, I'm not a juror. I don't know that much about law. But from my perspective, there are two options. Either the defendant is declared guilty or innocent. Now, as far as I'm aware, it is far worse to declare an innocent person guilty than to declare a guilty person innocent. Because if an innocent person goes to prison for a crime that he did not commit, that is worse than a guilty person remaining free. However, I suppose there are a lot of arguments pro and contra regarding both of these regarding this perspective. One argument pro would be that the guilty person would go free. If the defendant is guilty and he is declared innocent, then a guilty person would go free. Chances are that he would eventually commit a crime again because he already committed one in the first place. So the chances increase that he would eventually go to prison anyway. Well, if an innocent person is sent to prison, that's more irreparable. The damage is greater because that person did not do anything wrong, and then is taken away and sent to prison. And that's my opinion. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but that makes sense. If you take an innocent person and put him in prison for something that he did not commit, it's a greater injustice than allowing someone who's guilty to walk. Because if chances are that a guilty person would commit another crime in the future, probably a similar crime, and he would eventually go to prison. And another important point regarding this situation would be that so the innocent person is sent to prison, right? That's irreparable because afterwards, when the punishment is over and he goes out of prison, even if he declares his innocence, it wouldn't matter because the damage is already done. He was sent to prison and he had years of life lost and so on. However, if the guilty person walks, the damage is not that big. It is big only to the victim because that person is criminal. Let's say you rob the victim, and the victim sees the robber walk free. But I consider that to not be as negative as taking an innocent person and putting that person in prison. However, again, that depends on everyone's opinion. That's my opinion. Alright, and what else does it say here? Oh yeah, here it's the concept of presumption of innocence is mentioned, and that's different from morality. It has to do with the actual law. Well, kind of. So presumption of innocence, as far as I know, is that exactly what I said. So an innocent person. So how do I formulate this? So presumption of innocence means that a person will remain free until proven guilty. So that means that unless the evidence is strong enough to definitively prove that the victim is guilty, he will remain free, even if he won't be declared innocent. So there's a lot of evidence that suggests that he's guilty, but until the point where the evidence is perfectly a presumption of innocence. So, and I guess that is correct, because again, back to my first point, if an innocent person is sent to prison for a crime that he did not commit, it's worse than a guilty person walking free. And that's my opinion. And that seems to be why the presumption of innocence exists. Alright. Also, in my case, in my specific case, this thing has been turned upside down, because it's not a presumption of innocence. In my case, society decided that it should be a presumption of guiltiness. So basically, society decided that I'm guilty using its false stories before there was a trial, because there was no trial about anything. But they decided that I'll be guilty, even though I'm innocent. So presumption of innocence was turned into presumption of guiltiness. So basically, I would be guilty until proven to be innocent. And that's entirely because of society's delusional system, but it's a different case anyway, which requires a different video. So, and it, alright, then, okay, and then it says that I have to reach a verdict. So in order to reach a verdict, I would need the actual details of the case. So since I don't have that, it's exactly the same thing that I mentioned. If the evidence that the defendant is guilty is strong enough to be definitive, then the defendant must be declared guilty and sent to prison. If the evidence is not enough to prove that definitively, then he should walk free, regardless if he's innocent or if there's doubt regarding his innocence. I think that proved that I have common sense regarding this topic, despite there not being that many details. So that was a moral dilemma. So there are arguments pro and contra. Other people might have different opinions, but I think it was this was based on common sense and also on my personal opinion on the topic. But this could be wrong. It depends on the person. That's why it is a moral dilemma. So there's no clear solution. Alright. Let's try something else on the same topic. So, criminal law, but with more details. So let's try something similar but with more details. Criminal law, related criminal, which more details are randomly. Okay, so its task is to schedule a meeting with the client to discuss details. Okay, so I guess I need to make a plan regarding the tasks mentioned in this text. So yes, it's pretty much what it's already mentioned. So I scheduled a meeting. I met with the client who was accused of I think it was homicide. Yeah, such as homicide. So a serious crime anyway. I met with this client, and then I need to build a case in order to defend this client. So then ask all the questions, all the possible questions regarding the case. Ask them in a different manner in order to see if there are inconsistencies. So if he answers the same question, I formulate the same questions in different manners and ask it over and over again and see if the answer changes or if inconsistencies appear in the client's answer. If it's true, if the client is saying the truth, the answer should be similar and should be around pretty much the same point. But if the answer changes with the same question formulated in different manners, then there probably are inconsistencies. So that might mean that the client is guilty. But the task here says to defend the client. So then what I would do, if that would be the objective, would be to find any such inconsistencies and try to sort of repair them in order to make next I need to analyze the evidence. So then the prosecution, I guess these are the people who accuse my client, and I would need to present the evidence. No, I need to analyze the evidence the prosecution presents. So the evidence against my client will be presented, and I need to analyze it. So then yes, I will see what this evidence presents. I would see the storyline of the client. I would check for any evidence that the client might have, and then I would try to find all the arguments that support my client's version of the truth. That's pretty much a logical thing to do, and it depends on the case. So I need to see the actual details in order to be able to build this, but this should be the process. Then develop a strategic defense strategy. So yeah, that's basically it. So I have the evidence of the prosecution, I have the evidence from my client, I have my client's storyline regarding what happened. I need to make that very clear, so the storyline is clear, there's no uncertainty or inconsistency. And then I need to find inconsistencies in the evidence presented by the prosecution, and try to highlight that, and to support my client's innocence, if the client is innocent. I also need to make sure that the client is aware of everything that I do, so he would be able to say the same things in his own words. So I have to be on the same page with the client. Then throughout the trial, maintain open and effective communication. So yeah, throughout the entire trial, I need to again to be on the same page with my client. So everything that I do, my client needs to be aware of it and needs to understand it. So he needs to understand the process. Then use the legal knowledge to support the points that I made from the previous process. Okay, so that's basically it. It's common sense. It's a plan that you build a case. You have to have the storyline, which needs to be consistent, and then you need to have the actual evidence to support that storyline, and you need to identify all the inconsistencies of the accusers and the inconsistencies in the storyline of the accusers and in their evidence, and then use the legal knowledge to support your version of the truth, or the client's version of the truth, if the client is saying the truth. So that's basically it. I think that this proves that I have common sense. So it's all logical. It's built step by step. Once again, there's no reason why I won't be able to represent myself in court. Not in a legal perspective, but from a normal point of view, like any other person. So when someone is accused of something, they are not their own lawyer. People hire a lawyer, but they're allowed to represent themselves in court. Shortly, the only reason why someone would not be able to represent themselves in court would be temporary because of intoxication with some sort of drug, or for a longer term as a result of some sort of mental illness. However, all the tests that I did proved that I have no mental illness, and then people argue that the same reason that was used before, so the non-existent mental illness that people made up in order for me to not represent myself in court the first time, would supposedly be going on. So right now, I should not be able to represent myself in court, so I should not be able to have common sense, a logical approach, or general, or be able to use general intelligence and general knowledge in a manner that most people can. But I think I can do that just fine. So there's, in conclusion, the illegal deal that was signed should be nullified, and that's in my personal case. So it has nothing to do with the case generated by ChatGPT. So in my personal situation, the initial crimes that I've been accused of need to go to court. The illegal deal that was signed is illegal, and that is based entirely on the fact that I was supposedly not able to represent myself in court at the time, but I could do that just fine. Because people argue that right now I would have the same problem that I had back then, but back then I had no problem. And this can be proven if those accusations and those false stories and false sense. I can be able to use logic. I can be able to do so. So I can use the general knowledge that I have. I can use the additional information that I get from a case, or in my specific case, the criminal case, the crimes that I was accused of. I can take that information and apply logic, common sense, intelligence, and general knowledge the same manner that any other normal person can. So there's no reason, there's no argument that I would not be able to represent myself in court. There's nothing of what I say now or what I said back then was in any way detached from reality. It was all logical based on the information that I had and the supposed symptoms or other observations that people linked to a potential mental health problem are false. So there's and that can be